Well, let the reverse fixtures begin. Then in this year's tournament, on Whirlpool presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. We're looking ahead to the game between the Chennai Super Kings and the Sunrisers Hyderabad in Dubai. And it was an interesting meeting. The last time these two teams met, a 7-run win that gave Sunrisers the points. But that's just 2 out of 6 points that they've managed in 7 games this season. It's not been the ideal start for David Warner and the Sunrisers, but it's still 2 points better than what the start's been for MS Dhoni and the Chennai Super Kings. If you're a CSK fan, you're not used to this kind of situation. You know exactly what the Super Kings are all about. They're usually closer to the top half of the table than the bottom. And here they are now, languishing at second to last with just 4 points and 2 wins from their 7 games. Takes 1 game to change things around. We're still not yet to do or die territory, you think, where if you have to gauge the benchmark of 14 points, then CSK need another 4 wins to get there. So we'll see how things respond. They did go down last time around, did the Chennai Super Kings and Sunrisers Hyderabad. They've also managed to come up with a game that they should have won last time. But Ian Bishop is here, well connected in there. And Deep Das Gupta, how are you doing today? I'm hoping Deep is... Deep, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Bish, can you hear me? Deep, are you with us? Or have you put one of those pictures that just has you on the camera after your absence yesterday? Can you hear me, Deep?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Now you can hear me. Brilliant. Great. I was going on and on hoping that all our tech issues get sorted. So it's not like I like the sound of my own voice, which I may. But anyway, the point is the Sunrisers and the Chennai Super Kings are all set. And as we look ahead to this game, Deep, let's get news from Dubai. The Chennai Super Kings have won the toss. They're going to have a bat first. And they've brought in an extra leg spinner. Piyush Chawla comes back for Narayan Jagadish. So just the 1 game for him. What does that tell you?
I believe, obviously, it's a reflection of the surface as well, a little bit of that. And also, I think they need to just change their mindset. I think they need to just use the resources, the batting resources that they have. Maybe use it a little differently now. Be a little more aggressive in how they bat in the middle overs. I guess, I never had a problem with their personnel as such, but it's just the batting approach that I believe they need to have a relook.
For a team there have been more questions, you'd say, Bish, about their batting than their bowling. Does this change to some degree surprise you, leaving out an out-and-out batsman and bringing back an extra leg spinner in Piyush Chawla?
Yeah, in a way it does surprise me because I think I'd agree with Deep that the way that the top and the middle order at times have approached the batting has not been great, but it places a lot more emphasis if we to look and try to understand what may happen is that someone like a Dwayne Bravo will have to play a bigger part. Sam Curran, Jadeja, who's been having little starts to his innings, will have to give them more security from a batting perspective.
Yeah, I'm interested in the toss decision itself or the result itself, Deep. CSK have been put in a position of slight discomfort by having to chase on the last few occasions. Now they're getting to set the agenda, set the pace of the game and batting first. Is that significant for a team that's desperate to get some points?
I think so, yes. And also going by the record as far as this season is concerned, you have more teams winning batting first. So, yeah, more of a comfort zone for CSK, I guess, batting first.
Deep, would you have given Narayan Jagdishan a game more? At least, he looked all right in that effort in the first game. And, I mean, I don't know who else you can look at as an Indian batsman to leave out if you are to give him more game time. But would you have given him another game?
It's difficult to say that because obviously in the surface, if there is spin and PC bowled beautifully the first few games that he played, I mean, he bowled really well. So, I mean, he can bat as well. But again, the issue with their batting is they've got 11 guys who can bat, but it's the approach. I think I mentioned this on one of our shows here that, I mean, why not put someone like a PC or someone at number 3 and as a pinch hitter or someone. So yeah. I think, just give that batting innings a little bit of a momentum.
I like that. Let's get to that discussion. Then we'll come to Sunrisers later. CSK Bish don't do different things, right? And here they are now in a season where they haven't started well. That's something unusual for them too. Can they get creative? Even if they're a franchise that don't quite get creative with pinch hitters or promotions, can you send a Shardul Thakur or a Jadeja or a Piyush Chawla at 3? Would you be tempted looking at where CSK are?
You could think, and I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I think you could look at utilizing one of those left-handed batsmen up the order. If that left-hander is good enough, whether it's a Jadeja or a Sam Curran, just to break up a lot of the right-handedness deep. And I think you would have touched on this along your T20 broadcasting career. There are a lot of right-handers. Similarly with Sunrisers, Warner has been the main left-hander at the top. One of the points I don't want us to overlook, RK, and I don't know where the other teams stand, but I think the average score against CSK this season is in that 175 mark. That's pretty high. If on average you've been batting second for every game bar this one and teams are scoring 175 against you, it says a little bit about your bowling. Are we overlooking that?
All right. So if we can get into that then. So you're saying, Bish, that 175 you think is good, right? I'm assuming that's what you're saying? Or is it
no. Score, that is being scored against CSK on average.
170 is too many, right? So there's a problem with the bowling.
So that it tells us that the bowling, for me, has lacked a little bit of teeth, but that has been overshadowed by the lack of intent in the batting. So I think that's something that CSK themselves internally would have looked at and said, maybe that's why they brought in the extra bowler today. As much as the pitch, as Deep has said, I haven't seen it. But they've got to also be mindful of how many runs are being compiled against them, because they don't have an out-and-out fast bowler. They've got Ndidi and Hazelwood on the bench. So they've gone for spin today.
Okay, that's an interesting point that Bish makes. So let's get into that, Deep. I guess the call was when Dwayne Bravo was fit. Could you keep Sam Curran out and play your strike overseas bowler, whether that's Ndidi, Imran Tahir, last year's purple cap holder, or Josh Hazelwood? And I guess by then, the questions around the batting, the manner of CSK's defeats, gave MS Dhoni the luxury, or invited him to take the luxury of having both Bravo and Curran. After that decision, does it look like CSK's bowling is also not up to the mark?
Yeah, I mean, as Bish mentioned, if you look at the wickets that they've taken earlier on, Deepak Chahar would pick up those wickets in the power play. Then there would be wickets in between, in the middle overs. So this year they haven't picked up enough wickets. So what Sam Curran and Bravo does is gives you that sense of security. You can bat, you can bowl. I'll get 4 overs out of them more often than not. They can bat also, but I think that can suck you into this false sense of security as well. And that's where I think CSK, for me, should commit to either one. Either you go into a Hazelwood or an Imran Tahir. Okay, you've got PC with you, fair enough. So, you have a good enough leg spinner. So PC is there, Indian leg spinner. Go with Josh Hazelwood. Try and look to pick up wickets as well. And I mean, Deepak Chahar picked up one in last game in the power play, but he hasn't picked up enough wickets this season. And I mean, I'm more inclined to go into play one of Sam Curran or Bravo and get a proper out and out bowler, a wicket taker, whether it's Josh Hazelwood or Imran Tahir.
Okay, Bish, I think got a call from the CSK management saying, good point, let's stick to the bowling. Don't talk about the batting now. Forget the batting. Very good point.
My technology that I used to cast the game onto my television just went boom. So
I know that, Bish. But since you raised an interesting observation, let's get into that. If their bowling is lack teeth, if we are to assume that, and that is because they don't have the outright overseas seamer in Ndidi or Hazelwood, or they don't play Imran Tahir, does bringing in Piyush Chawla solve that problem? That's another Indian leg spinner. Does it give them the X factor that they need, though? I would think an Imran Tahir would be a more tempting option, looking at how good he's been in the IPL and in T20 cricket.
Well, I think Deep touched on it. The issue there is to leave out one of the overseas guys, the Bravos, who's been sold there for them for so long, or the Curran, who offers a little bit of left-handedness with the bat and he's done a solid enough job with the ball. So I think they've compromised a little bit there. Piyush gives you maybe a little bit with the bat as well, if necessary. So it's been a tough journey. I think it's been a tough season for CSK. They've lacked a little bit with the bat and they've lacked a little bit with the ball.
All right. And if we are to maybe make this conversation a little more about Dwayne Bravo. Now, you think Bravo's such a wonderful servant for CSK over the years and part of their championship sides. He's managed, 3 wickets now in 4 games, and he's not had much opportunity with the bat. If we look at Bravo now, Bish, 2-part question. One, is he quite the Bravo that, he was? I think I know the answer to that. But B, the Bravo that he is now, is he still good enough to warrant a place in this side, looking at all the other issues they have?
Well, yeah, just to repeat what you already know about your answer, he's not the same guy. He's 37 years of age. Mind you, the way that AB de Villiers is going along with the bat, you don't see any difference in the way that he's performing. But I think he has lost a little bit of nip. But what I saw from Bravo in the CPL was a very clever bowler, a guy who could hit you those wide Yorkers. He may no longer have, I suppose, some of that potency that he had in years gone by, which was never extreme pace. Where I think he's underutilized, RK and Deep, is Bravo's batting. Yeah. Bravo started his international career as a batsman who bowls. I've always reminded people of that. Last year, he played a number of little cameos for CSK, and I'm sure he's done it in years prior to that as well. So I think he's being underutilized. If a little bit of nip is coming off the bowling and you still like his attitude and his fielding, I would give him more opportunity with the bat.
How about that then? Bravo coming up higher. Like we mentioned, some creativity in the batting order. Deep?
I'm all for it. I'm all for it because what I really need to see that spark in the middle order. What I don't see is that spark, and something needs to change there. You can't be going into a game, every game playing the same way and not getting the results your way. The other thing is, I think Suresh Raina not being there, that's made a huge difference because suddenly you see this void in that batting. You're trying to kind of cover it up with bowlers who can bat a bit. So, I mean, that I think has played, again, a massive role there, and also Kedar not being at his best either. So I think that's when they have to decide sooner or later and say, let's try and do something differently here. Maybe someone like Bravo. I mean, Bravo is a good enough batsman to bat in the top order. I mean, he is a proper batsman as well. So why not? Why not send him, Sam Curran, someone up the order and just shake things up a bit?
All right. The last question on this subject. In Sam Curran, do CSK have someone that does Bravo's job for them better than Bravo? And that could be a yes or a no.
I don't know whether Sam is that bowler yet. If we think back to Bravo at his best, right? So we're going back a few years at his absolute best. I don't know that Sam Curran is that guy yet. But Sam is very young and he's not a bad player. I wouldn't say that he is the Bravo of, say, 7-8 years ago.
All right, fair enough. Chennai, the Sunrisers Hyderabad make a change of their own, and it looks like now both captains are in sync on what they make of this surface. CSK have gone for the extra spinner, and so too have the Sunrisers. In fact, they've played the specialist spinner. They were left out the part-time left-arm spin of Abhishek Sharma, and they've brought in Shahbaz Nadeem as the outright left-arm spinner. Abhishek Sharma, who played a pretty handy knock against CSK, along with Priyam Garg in a match-changing partnership last time round, misses out. That's the only change that they make. Deep, happy with that one, bringing in Shahbaz Nadeem for Abhishek?
Yeah, I mean, it's like almost like for like, if I may say so. I mean, Abhishek is more of a batsman who can bowl. Shahbaz is a bowler who can bat. So, yeah, I mean, for me, it's more like for like. Obviously, you're more often than not will get 4 overs out of Shahbaz. I mean, that's what you expect of him. So, yeah, I mean, that's all right. I mean, they've still got the same seam attack, Sandeep Sharma, Khalil and Natarajan. Yeah, I mean, I don't see too much of a change in the playing 11 because of that.
All right. Does it strike you as a team that can afford an extra outright bowler, Vish? They seem to have their own troubles with finding the right balance, and they've gone for an extra spinner here. And you look at that, Warner and Bairstow now been getting a few runs. Is that translated into a little more confidence that, okay, we could play an outright bowler now?
Well, it would have to, because you look at David Warner. I'm just trying to work through that batting lineup again. And we talked about David Warner being the top-class left-handed batsman throughout that system there. So he is vitally important. If you think about the guys in the CSK lineup now who can turn the ball away from the bat, it places an extra incentive upon Warner. It's not that left-hander is absolutely necessary if you've got quality batsmen anyway. But I think they'll have to bat well. They definitely have to bat well. Kane has been doing a good job. Manish Pandey has been solid. So it's just that's why these two teams are where they are on the table.
Yeah, fair enough. There's a conversation on Kane Williamson as well, and one that whether he's utilized to an optimum level, if he's going to come in after Manish Pandey for last couple of games, we've seen Williamson just come in to play almost a cameo role towards the end. And if that is the role that the overseas player needs to be reserved for, is Mohammad Nabi a better option? How does it work, Deep? It's a two-pronged sword, right? If you play Williamson, then suddenly Warner and Bairstow bat differently. They know they have Williamson. That means Williamson gets underutilized. You remove Williamson, and an early wicket falls, and you'd rather have Williamson for Nabi. So what's the way to deal with it?
See, how I look at it, if there's an early wicket, I'll send in Williamson. I would rather have Williamson there if there is a wicket in the first few overs. Let him handle, those overs and all that. And and especially now that they're chasing, one of the challenges that SRH have is that their low middle order, low middle order, does not have the experience. Priyam Garg is a brilliant batsman, but does he have the experience to finish off games? That's where you've got to be a little more creative in terms of you ideally would want Williamson / Manish Pandey, either one of them, to be there till the end to finish off games. Now, how you use them, as in Manish and Williamson, will be very, very important, especially while chasing.
What do you do with Williamson, Bish?
Ideally, I would want to bat him in the top three, but he's coming belatedly because similar to my own private thoughts on Virat Kohli opening, my thoughts are on Williamson, because we look back, what season was it, Deep, where he captained? Was it last year or year before?
When Warner was suspended that year. So
and he was brilliant, and that's where he's at his most effective best. But hey, what do? Move Warner or Bairstow? You can't do that given the history of them. Manish Pandey was the starter, so Manish gets to continue in that position, which seems to have served him best. But Williamson isn't doing a bad job. He's topping up on whatever they have scored at the best of times.
All right. We're curious to see how Kane Williamson is used in a game where we think it could become, the spinners could play a big role. And that takes me to my next conversation, which I was very excited to have, because after the last Sunrisers game, we saw an event. We saw Rahul Tewatia take on Rashid Khan and change the momentum of the game. Now there's image that's coming around that, okay, pitches are getting slower. That's the sort of mindset teams seem to be approaching. And Rashid Khan has been absolutely unplayable otherwise, Deep. He's had an economy rate of in the 4s and 5s in these first few games. And now you've seen an Indian batsman, an unlikely hero, take him on and change the course of the game. What does that tell you about how to play Rashid Khan? Do you somewhere believe there's an overcautious approach to Rashid Khan in the IPL these days?
Not really. Listen, I will not say anything based on one game. Let's see how it goes for a few more games, and maybe if there is a trend or if there is a pattern, we can. But as of now, I think Rashid. Still he's one of the best in the world in this format. There is no two ways about it.
Yeah.
When he's bowling the 17th and you batting there, you have to take chances. It came off, and credit to Rahul Tewatia. He's been doing that rather more consistently this season. So yeah, also credit to him for doing it. But when you're bowling the 17th, the batsman will come after you. There are days when you'll come good, and there'll be days when you'll go for a few. So that's all right. But as far as Rashid is concerned, I think he is that much more dangerous when the batsman's going after him.
Right.
How many times have you seen a batsman getting out to Rashid trying to defend?
Yeah, fair enough. Which my question, I guess, is when you know opposition teams aren't going to attack you as a bowler, don't you feel better about it? Wouldn't you? Doesn't that make you a more threatening force when you know they're not looking to attack you?
It gives you a level of comfort in knowing that you are that good. It reinforces that. However, there are some bowlers who would like batsmen to go after them so that it brings them that wicket. And I think that is why leg spinners have been so effective in T20 cricket over the last few years, because batsmen have to go at them. They don't know which way the ball is spinning, so it brings the opportunity. Look, Rashid is bowling excellently. At some point, I agree with Deep wholeheartedly. Someone is going to take you apart, but it's how you come back and it's how you continue the season that is going to be most important. The guy is quality. Is he going at under 6 and over this tournament so far?
Yeah.
So
So
good guy.
simple as that. Although there are teams that have taken Rashid Khan on. One of them is CSK, albeit with the Suresh Raina. Ambati Rayudu has some pretty decent numbers against him. Rayudu is the other one. Here's a player who is so important to CSK's batting, and we saw that in the opening game against Mumbai. Rayudu fires; he can play the different pace, whatnot. Last time was it a question of conditions? Would you have a chat with Ambati Rayudu and say, "You are my main man now. Maybe you can dictate what pace this innings goes by"?
Absolutely, yes, because he has it in him. We know that he can play at different situations, conditions. He has that thing about him. So yeah, again, I mean, like I said, it's not the issue with personnel. They have good personnel. It's just the approach. Somebody needs to sit them down and say, listen, you know what? Let's go out there and play some fearless cricket. Let's not be bothered. It's all right if you get out for 130. It's all right, right? Let's not worry about getting out 130, 140. Let's just go out there, express ourselves. Chances are we'll do well. And I mean, obviously, it's difficult. I mean, it's easier said than done when you haven't won too many games. But they will have to kind of change their approach. That's how I see it.
Yeah, MS Dhoni, in fact, hinted at that after the last defeat. Bishi actually said, maybe we need to try something else. Maybe we should just come in and play our shots. And if we get out, we get out. It doesn't sound like the CSK way, but is that desperately what's needed? A change of intent from their batsmen?
I could say and fully endorse that statement for a couple of teams. I think KL Rahul, and I know I'm sidetracking here, KL needs to just play his game because Kings 11 Punjab are already in trouble. CSK are already in trouble. So come what may, don't be reckless about the cricket that you're going to play today. Still try to be sensible, but be brave. That is what T20 cricket is about. Brave cricket, and whatever the result is, it is. But play your brave cricket.
Shahbaz Nadeem in the power play, tempting option, Deep, with two right-hand opening bats.
Yeah, Shahbaz Nadeem, and he bowls in the first six. He knows how to bowl, right? And he's an extremely smart cricketer. Again, he's a very, very Krunal Pandya kind of a bowler. Might not have all the loop and everything else, but having said that, he's bowling much better last couple of years. Ranji Trophy, he's got 50 plus wickets in first class cricket last season. So he's much better as a bowler, but he's an extremely smart bowler as well.
Does a 39-year-old Shane Watson look at a 38-year-old AB de Villiers and say, the previous day, it's a good time to be 39, it's a good time to be 40? Could we see the best out of Shane Watson today, Bish?
Well, you never know. He's had a couple of decent scores in the last 3 or 4 games, I think, if we go back. But hey, we're talking two different players. Come on, let's say we're talking about a genius and we're talking about a guy with a lot of international experience who's done his bit. But you cannot compare AB de Villiers and Shane Watson. Let us stop it, RK. You're going to get wrapped for that.
All right. I'm going to break news now and stop every other conversation. Sam Curran has walked out to bat.
Yes.
He's opening the batting. Sam Curran, the batsman. We wanted to see some innovation, and here it is. So let's get thoughts on that. Deep Dasgupta, what does that tell you? Sam Curran coming out to bat for CSK.
I'm extremely happy. I think that finally the messages got through to everyone. They need to change things up. They need that fire. They need that spark. Let's do this.
All right, Bish. Shane Watson is going to come in at 3. It's Faf and Sam Curran that are opening.
Well, it brings that left-handedness higher up in the order, as we mentioned before. It's either Sam Curran or Ravindra Jadeja. Now it's up to execution. I want to see how this plays out. I'm not going to give I'm not giving this the thumbs up or the thumbs down yet. I want to see how this goes.
But regardless of how this goes, even if Curran gets out 3 or 4 balls, is it a step in the right direction? Are you happy to see something like this? It's obviously thrown an element of unpredictability to the opposition. I don't think they would have seen this coming.
No, as I say, Dinesh Karthik kept us guessing for about 2 games in a row, and it worked out a couple of times. So I wouldn't blame this.
Yeah, this is the most dramatic thing CSK have done, I think, in their history, isn't it? It's fitting for 2020 that a year that's been upside down. MS Dhoni sends a pinch-hitting all-round left-hand batsman to try and change the course of the game. You like it though, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, come on, you've got to give credit to him for changing things up, for moving away from what has worked so well for them, CSK and MSD over the years, been extremely successful. Credit to him for changing things up, acknowledging that there needs to be a change, which I mean, and they've gone with it. So I'm glad that they've, irrespective of what happens, irrespective of whether Sam Curran gets runs or doesn't, I think, as you mentioned, step in the right direction.
All right, I would love to have this chat go on to the entirety of Sam Curran's innings, right? But before I say goodbye to the two of you, it is a unique IPL. These are unique decisions that are coming around, and even though the fans haven't been physically present in the stands, it doesn't matter because watching is the new everything. We've got some stunning visuals from the host cities for our fans. Have a look. All right. Good memories of UAE have been part of most Indian cricketers, international cricketers. You guys have been there for a while. Deep, are you enjoying your time in Abu Dhabi, albeit in the bubble?
Yeah, but those pictures, were they from Abu Dhabi? I mean, I don't know.
It's all across the UAE, so it's the best of everywhere.
Because all I've seen is the hotel and the ground. So yeah, it's been good.
Come on, Deep, say nice things about the UAE. That's the point of this plug. That's not like, okay, that's all I've seen.
No, I mean, it's been good, to be honest. I mean, credit to everyone who's made this happen. I mean, listen, I mean, nobody would have thought of an IPL happening, but it's been good so far. But yeah, I mean, so far so good.
Fish, love the UAE.
I love it. I love it. There's no great heap of traveling. It's safe. No complaints.
That's it. See, Deep, that's all you needed to say. Anyway, thank you very much to Deep and Ian Bishop. And I hope to have the company of both Bish and Deep at our mid-inning show. But like we said, who's going to predict what happens in this IPL anymore, right? Sam Curran is opening the batting, and let's see what kind of score he and CSK can give them. Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. So see you then.